we've been friends for a really long time, and so I think that it would be important to have a conversation about how to maintain adult friendships.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's an important conversation to have. I think for me personally, I struggle sometimes just because like everyone's at a different stage in life. You're either like getting married, having kids, whatever the case may be. So it's really hard just to keep that connection. For me, sometimes like I'll struggle hardcore just to even get out of the house because I work remotely. So like, and I get my prescriptions delivered, I get my groceries delivered. So I'm like, why do I even need
delivered too?
Yeah, it's like, why do I even need to leave? Like, I can just stay in the comforts of my own home. But then again, sometimes I like crave that social interaction, like just having that face to face, which this podcast helps with. But, it's different when you're in person, Is there
talking? It's not all texting.
Yeah, exactly. Is there anything that you do that kind of like helps maintain those friendships, or what do you kind of feel like?
I know that I'm always not great at communication with my friends. I know that sometimes I get so caught up in life that I just don't respond to messages, or I don't like reach out, or I don't make plans, or I don't follow through with plans. And I know sometimes that can reflect badly, like on my character or how I am as a friend. But I think it's kind of tough sometimes to navigate adult friendships because, like you said, we're all in different stages of life, and sometimes life just gets in the way, and it's hard to, for lack of a better term, put your friends first. But that's not an excuse to like not put any effort in that relationship.
No, for sure.
So I know that I'm definitely guilty of that. But I think if you have a good friend in your life, then they understand that you have stuff going on and that they're not going to be the center of your universe, and that if you have a good, healthy connection, then you're going to come back together like nothing ever changed, no matter what.
Exactly.
And that's what I appreciate about our friendship, because it's always been like that.
Yeah, like even when we didn't talk for years, we just picked it up like just where we left off.
That was so weird. It was like one day it was just like, "Hey, what's up, bitch?"
And I'm like, "Hey, let's get it going, hey!"
Yeah, and that's how you know that you have a good connection, because a lot of times people will be like, "Oh, well, you're different. What's wrong with you? Like, what's going on with you?" And like, "Oh, I don't like this about you." And it's like, okay, well, I'm sorry that you're not the center of my whole entire world, but I have a life of my own, and deal with it.
No, for sure. I feel like for me personally, like I always try to at least check in with my friends, like you, whoever, because I have a bad habit of like I will just get so caught up in just like work, and then I love sleeping, so I'll sleep a lot. So I always like to make an effort to like be like, "Hey, how are you doing? Or are we good?" You know what I mean? Just something, just that reach out. I know I'm pretty bad about like meeting in person, but that being said,
I
but
think
that being said,
become such a homebody, you know?
I know it's so easy just to like stay home and be in the comfort of your home. Like I have video games, I got food, I have my pop and energy drinks. I don't need nothing else, you know?
Yeah, that's how I feel too, especially since like being on second shift. Like, I don't know. I don't want to use it as an excuse, but it makes it hard to want to go out because you're so tired, and like my hours are so unpredictable at work. That literally my whole entire life is consumed by this job. So the only things that I really usually have time for is work, sleep, and errands. And sometimes, and this is going to sound kind of gross, but sometimes I don't even have time to clean my house, you know? Like,
no, I get it.
Like, I come home and there's so many chores to do, but it's like I'm so drained. And
you're just tired. You're like, I'm ready to get in the bed.
I'm like, my house is disgusting, but like I only have the energy to change and go to bed.
No, I know when I worked second shift for the longest time there, like my sleep schedule was so messed up because I was a foster parent at the time, doing a whole bunch of different stuff. And like being second shift just like can create such a hassle in your life, you know? Like I know like personally, I know you're trying to get off second shift and stuff like that. But that being said, I think it's where it's just that aspect where everyone's at different points in their life where you need to be like, hey, I'm on second shift or this or that. So it's just hard to navigate those things.
And sometimes it's hard to like not compare yourself to other adults too, because like
especially with social media.
And like because like I have friends that like have children. I have friends that are in school. I have friends that are, you know, just doing all kinds of things, and like friends that are super busy with their lives, but they still make time to do like a bunch of other stuff. and I'm over here only having energy for work and errands and sleep. And so like sometimes I feel like a bad friend because it's like I don't want my friends thinking that if I'm not responding to them or not reaching out or not making plans with them constantly or not following through with plans that I don't want to see them or talk to them. It's just that sometimes it literally just slips my mind. Like sometimes I'll have a text sitting on my phone and they'll be thinking that I'm ignoring them.
Yeah.
But in my subconscious, like I saw the message and I forgot about it.
Yeah.
And then hours later, I see my notification tab and I'm like, oh shit, I forgot to respond to that. They probably think I hate them.
No, which I get, but
no,
I
it's
think
not like that at all. It's just
right. I think people forget that like everyone has different energy levels. And since we're all in different points of our life, you know, for example, someone who doesn't have kids or, you know, works for a shift, not a lot of responsibilities might have more energy, or people are used to different things. So they have that energy to respond. So everyone's at different points in their lives. It's just like, you got to figure out what is the balance to make yourself happy and make other people happy. And it's always nice to have those friends that you can be like, hey, you know what? This week I can't do it, can't respond. I'm just going to be me. And like, but I still love all of my friends, but I just got to do my own thing, you know?
Yeah, and I think what's really important is that communication, that even if you don't have the energy or even if you do forget it, when you do respond or if you do remember, reach out and be like, hey, I'm so sorry that I haven't responded to you. It's not personal. I just literally forgot. Like, sometimes it really is that simple. And I know a lot of people will take it personally and be like, no, you're ignoring me. You don't want to talk to me. You don't
No, it's nothing like that at all.
No, it's literally not like that at all. I just, like, I literally just do forget. And sometimes I'm just at home doing absolutely nothing. And I kind of like underestimated, like when I went back to school, I've been in school for almost a month now.
Yeah.
And I totally like forgot how like energy consuming it is.
It is a lot.
And like when I was in college, back when I was like 18, I was working and going to school at the same time. And back then I ended up dropping out because it was just too much. I couldn't handle it. It was just full-time school, full-time work, so much on my plate. It's stressful. I had a jam-packed schedule and I just couldn't do it. And I like forgot how like just how hard it is, really, for lack of a better term.
It can be a lot.
Hard to juggle that. As an adult, I feel like I have a little bit more like, I don't know, I feel like I have a little bit more
like leeway,
handle freedom on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not that it's not still hard, it is, but it's not like consuming like it was back then. But that's just kind of like, at least for me personally, if there's people in my life who think that I'm just like not talking to them because I don't want to, it's not like that. It's just that I literally I have so much on my plate right now, and it's just kind of hard to like, I don't want to say it's hard to make time because it's never hard to make time for things that you care about or things that you want to.
Yeah.
But sometimes it literally does just slip your mind, and
you get so caught up in doing something you just completely forget. So like for me, talking about like the school and making time for everything. For me, when I first went to school and dropped out, because I had a similar story to yours, it was just a thing where it was just so much between juggling school and work. And I was like, at the time, I was broke 18-year-old. I was like, I'm more worried about money, you know? So is there something that's different now for you that helps manage like between school and now compared to before? Or like, how does that feel for you?
If I'm being honest, I think the fact that my program being only 7 months long helped me a lot. When I was in community college, I was going for a 2-year degree.
Yeah.
That was hard for me to grasp because
it can be a lot.
I had just graduated high school and I had a serious case of senioritis. I was ready to get the hell out of there.
Yeah.
Just to turn around and go back to school for another 2 years. Like, I think I was just burnt out by that point. I couldn't handle it. I had too much on my plate. But now I think it's nice because I had such a long break from school. Yeah. And knowing that my program that I'm going for is so much shorter.
Yeah.
And the advisors and the teachers that I have are so hands-on with all of the students. And that's something that, like, I think a lot of people take for granted. I didn't really have much of that when I was in school back then, but now I have these instructors who are constantly checking in, constantly helping, sending messages, sending encouragement. And then also having a fiance that's very supportive too. And is always encouraging me, like, hey, do you have your homework done? Did you read your chapters? You know, like someone who keeps me accountable. And then just knowing that at the end of this, I'm going to have a really fulfilling career.
You're going to have an awesome
stable
job,
career. Yeah. And it's just something to look forward to, just knowing that my future is going to be brighter 7 months from now. So
yeah, and such a short time span too. Yeah.
What?
I said it's like such a short time span, and it'll end up being a lot better in the future. I mean, I shouldn't say short. It's not going to feel short when you're doing the coursework, but
in hindsight, it is. So I think that's really rewarding, at least for me. But it doesn't mean that it's like any less like stressful knowing that I have yet another thing on my schedule, because we're still wedding planning too, and we still got 2 cruises booked that we got to pay for and still, and we just have a lot on our plate right now. So
I get it.
Prioritize, like going out and making plans with people, and I don't know.
It can be a lot. So like what I kind of do for myself is I have to I'm so bad at like writing stuff down and being organized that I have like a messy, unmessy system in my head where okay, it's this time, so I need to make sure I just reach out to, be like, hey, to whoever throughout the week. Like, for example, one of my other friends who live a little while away, I'll every few days I'll be like, are you good? Or I'll just be like, hey, you bitch. You know what I mean? Just to be like, it's our like way of like checking in and like showing that like, hey, still thinking about you, still here. And so for me, when life gets crazy like that, or when you're in school, wedding planning, all that, I always like to make mental notes. I don't know if you do the same thing, but I like to make mental notes in my head of like, hey, this is how I need to handle this. And it's worked for years now.
Yeah. I think, I think checking in is definitely important. I think it's characteristics of like those type of relationships that you want to keep instead of just letting them just kind of fall off on their own.
Yeah.
And I think I could definitely be better at reaching out to my friends more.
I mean, who can't be though,
Yeah. But I think what do you think are good characteristics of a type of friendship like that? Like, do you think that reaching out like consistently is like better, or like more like?
I think it really depends on what you guys had when you first went in. So, for example, with a couple of my friends now, or just my other friend, I should say, is that we don't talk every day. He's not the type of guy to be like, oh, I need a conversation daily or whatever the case may be. He's like a very classic, like blue collar kind of hardy guy, That being said, it's where as long as you have that communication you guys prefer and you just know you're there for each other. Like, I didn't see him for months on end or almost even a year. And then I saw him at his wedding, and it was like we picked up like nothing ever happened, So it will really depend on how you guys went into the friendship and how you guys are now and what you guys prefer. Because I know he works like 60-hour weeks. He's got a busy plate. He's got a busy life. So like, I don't expect him to like reach out 24/7, So it just, like I said, it depends. I think it's just as long as you guys are honest and have that open line of communication is going to be the 2 biggest portion. What do you think?
It's definitely really important to set those standards. With that friend, and be like, hey, like, for me to feel like you still want a connection with me, I would appreciate, this amount of check-ins or this type of check-in.
Yeah.
Or, let's see each other once a month, or, but
right.
I know sometimes it's hard because some of our friends have kids, and sometimes they just can't like I understand that sometimes they just can't do it,
Yeah, it's and, like, too hard. Yeah.
Yeah, and sometimes that kind of makes me feel guilty because like I don't have kids yet. So,
right.
And, like, I have responsibilities, but I don't have like that type of huge responsibility.
Where you're taking like care of another life.
Right. Except for my dog. I don't know if that counts or not, but
it counts. It's a fur baby. She's a good girl.
She is. She's the best. But like sometimes it's hard not to feel that type of like adult guilt, I guess, because like you see people who have more responsibilities than you and they're doing more than you, and you have less responsibilities but you're doing less. So it's kind of hard to be like, man, I'm a bum. I suck,
I get it. Yeah, I get it. But like thief is, I mean, it's such like when you take a look at other people, like even on social media or whatever, and it's hard to like not compare, but you have to not be able to compare yourself because like if everyone was the same, then we'd all be doing the same thing 24/7. But everyone has different energy levels, mindsets, beliefs. So like you can't compare yourself because comparison is the thief of joy, you know?
Yeah.
So you don't want to be like, hey, well, this guy, he's 22 and he's a doctor now. Like, you can't do that kind of stuff. Otherwise, you're going to live in a world of what ifs. You just have to be like that present and mindful. So that's where I kind of like have to keep myself grounded of like, I can see like my brother-in-law, they have 2 kids. He has a successful career. He's smart as hell when it comes to like carpentry and like doing
I was gonna say
anything
he
really.
does that side business too.
Yeah,
So
he
he's
does
busy.
he's a busy man and he still makes time to come hang out with his family and stuff. And I'm like, I don't know how he does it. Like, it's not necessarily like I feel bad about like how much he's doing and like, in sense to me, I'm just jealous, like I don't have that much energy, but it's just, you have to keep mindfulness and just being aware of like, hey, I am just myself. Everyone's different and that's okay. And that's kind of the beauty of being human.
Yeah, and that's how you know that like the people around you are like worth being around you, because some people will actually see you and see like, hey, I know that your distance isn't personal to me,
Yeah.
But some people do see it that way. Some people are like, man, you've been kind of distant, so this must be intentional. You might be
No. I just get so
trying
caught
to
up.
intentionally like cut me off or something. Like you're ignoring me. You're like, no. It's not
No,
always
not at
like
all.
that, but some people do see it like that, and it's kind of hard to navigate that too in those type of relationships.
Yeah. So like for me, whenever I've come across that, I always try to like just level set and be like, hey, nothing personal. I'm going through a lot. Or like, for example, I am changing my mental health meds right now. So it can be a lot to deal with like the symptoms and the side effects of that. So I try to make people aware of kind of what's going on in my life and be like, hey, this is what's going on. I might not have as much energy or I might not reach out as much. So, and I think people tend to forget that everyone has different lives. And it's and also like, it's okay to like, if you need to step back from a friendship too, if it's becoming too much or, you can't have that communication, step back from a friendship. Doesn't mean you can't reconnect later and, get on the same level again. But sometimes you just need to step back from, from a friendship, relationship, whatever you want to call it, and then maybe reapproach it later.
Yeah. Well, speaking of stepping back from friendships, sometimes, like, okay, so I wonder sometimes if it's like, I don't know what the word I'm looking for, like rude or like uncalled for, I guess.
Sure.
When you step back from a friendship without like communication about it, because like I've had instances in my past with friends where the situation was just not aligning with me anymore, and I've had conversation after conversation. I've given advice, I've tried helping, I've tried doing what I could to make the connection better or help them in whatever issue they're having. That sometimes it just gets to a point where I'm like, I can't do this anymore. Like I have to, know? So do you think that every time it's worth having that conversation, like, hey, I'm cutting you off, I can't do this friendship anymore, or is it sometimes okay to just go ghost?
I think it really depends on the situation. So, for example, what you're talking about, you're having those conversations. It's not like you're ghosting them. You're like, hey, I've had these conversations with you. I think it will really depend on the situation because in life, nothing is black and white, right? Everything is gray. There's always a middle ground.
Two
Everyone
sides.
has their own, there's 2 sides to every story. So it'll really depend. I think in the most part, I think you should have that conversation. Like, for example, you did. You gave that person plenty of chances, is what it sounds like. You've had those tough conversations, and they're still not doing anything about it. Well, you know what? I don't want that in my life. Peace. See ya. So it would be different if you were just like, besties one day, and then all of a sudden you're like, see ya, like Danny Phantom going ghost. But again, sometimes it's also necessary to go ghost. Like maybe you don't need to outright say it, but that being said, is that you should they know what they're doing, when they're being intentionally hurtful. So that's where I kind of stand. How do you feel?
I mean, like I find myself like always overthinking both ends of the situation.
I mean, same. I said a night and overthink.
So like I think about like my end, and I'm like, man, like they did this and this, and like this really irritated me, and wow, that's kind of fucked up. And then I'm like, okay, but like why would they do that? Why, like, what's their mindset? How to, like, if I put myself in their shoes, how are they looking at the situation?
Right.
I can't just keep seeing it from my end, because it takes two to have a relationship and a
takes
friendship.
Two to tango.
Whatever connection that you have. But like sometimes that behavior is so repetitive and goes on for so long that you're just like, man, I just really can't take this anymore. But if I ghost somebody, do they understand why I did it? Or do they think that I'm just being a bitch and I'm just cutting them off because I just woke up one day and decided I didn't want them in my life anymore?
Right.
You know, so it's kind of hard to think, excuse me, it's hard to think like, I don't want them to think that I just woke up one day and decided to hate them. You know what I mean? But at the same time, it's like, you're an adult and you should be aware, because I have made you aware several times that I don't like this. You know, this isn't good for you. This isn't healthy for you. This is hindering our friendship in some kind of way. You know, let's try to find a solution together. And they just keep repeating the same cycles over and over again. And
it's just, like, it's not healthy.
Yeah, like I can't do this anymore. So, yeah.
And like knowing you, I feel like you are a very empathetic person. I mean, just based off that conversation already of like knowing two sides of the story and like trying to understand. So like, it's not healthy to see someone put themselves down again and again, and you're trying to help them. And then essentially it makes you kind of feel like, am I a bad friend? Am I not doing enough?
Yeah.
You know, when it comes to that situation. So like, I think it's completely healthy. Like if you need to cut someone off for a little while or forever, go ahead and do it, because in a day, like your most important person, you should be yourself. It shouldn't be anyone else. You should be able to take care of yourself. That way you can take care of others. So I think it's completely healthy to cut someone off if it's just becoming too much for you.
Yeah. And like sometimes there's a lot of guilt that comes with that too.
Yeah, for sure.
I have had a couple friends in my lifetime that I've had to, for my own mental health, I've had to let go, because sometimes, like, okay, I'm gonna try to be very vague with this.
Okay.
I've had a couple friends who have been in terrible relationships with people, and it has just completely, like, I have seen friends be hurt physically, mentally, emotionally. Like, I have seen it all, and I have spent so many years with these friends trying to help them and give them solutions and give them advice and extend my hand and offer my house and, you know, like offer jobs, offer money, offer
literally
lives, offer
anything you can do.
Literally anything that I can possibly do for them to, you know, throw them a life jacket. And they just sit in that problem and they stay with that person knowing what's happening to them. And it's really hard to watch that happen, knowing that I've been doing everything in my power to help them and get them out of that situation. That it just comes to a point where you're like, man, like if you really enjoy your problems that much,
then
I don't want to
go enjoy them.
I don't want to keep watching you let yourself drown. You know, I'm out here with a lifeboat and you're just like, no, I'm good, you know? And in both of these situations, there's children involved. And so it's like, you know, not only are you allowing yourself to be put through this, but you're allowing your child to be put through this too. And despite the help that you've been offered, despite the advice you've been offered, you're not changing anything. And in fact, you're just getting worse. You're granting this person more access to you, more access to your child, you know, and you're not setting any boundaries with them. You're not protecting yourself. You're not protecting your child. And like, for me, that's just too hard to watch, and it's too hard to deal with. And like, I feel like a bystander just letting it happen, because even though I feel like I'm doing everything in my power to give them an out, they don't want it. So I'm like, okay, well, I can't deal with this. And that's kind of where that guilt comes from. Like, I feel bad. Like, I feel guilty for cutting them off, because it's like, what if I was their only, like, sanctuary? You know, what if I was their only, you know, they're keeping their head above water, and now they have nothing but that abusive person. So I don't know, like, do you think that that's like, is it okay to like feel guilty about that, or is it like okay?
Yeah, I think it's okay to feel guilty about anything you do. That just shows that you have compassion, you can be empathetic. So if you feel guilty, that is a completely normal feeling, you know?
Yeah.
And I think in the other guards is that it's also okay to cut them off just because like you're giving them help. You're being like, hey, I'm seeing this is that behavior, this is that. And sometimes like some people, they just don't want to be helped. Even if they don't realize it, they enjoy being like, I had my therapist even ask me one time, like, do you want help or do you just enjoy being depressed? You know, like misery likes company. I
Damn.
mean, like it sounds rough, right? But like if you really think about it, it's also like, do you really want to get help or do you want to stay the same? Because if you want to stay the same, great, go ahead and stay the same. Because some people, they just are into that kind of stuff and enjoy it. So it's just you have to. It's a really like tough call to make. And you can't help but feel guilty about it. But sometimes you have to cut them off because you got to protect yourself.
Yeah, and you're just kind of torn between like, do you want help or do you want to complain for the rest of your life? Because
Yeah, because
some people enjoy their problems and they
I
enjoy the
know
attention they get from complaining about their problem.
my mom.
I'm not
Oh,
the kind of
sorry,
person. Bless you.
I said my.
Um. Oh, I thought you
Yeah.
sneezed. But no, I mean, like some people just enjoy the attention they get from the problem that they have and
Yeah,
from complaining about it. And
misery
for
likes
me,
company.
since
Yeah,
I've dealt with this like with two separate friends in my life, I'm like, man, like I just really hate watching you do this to yourself.
yeah.
I don't want to keep listening to you complain about the same problem over and
It
over
just
and over
brings you
again.
down. It brings the whole.
Yeah.
It brings your life down because you can't help but be like, man, I feel really bad for them. I wish I could do something. And like, I'm
But no
sorry.
matter what help you offer, they're not going to take it.
No, not
They're
at
just going to keep
all.
coming to you to complain because that's pretty much your only value in their life is someone that they can bitch to.
Yeah, and like I don't want that, you know? Like I want like a friendship where we can start a podcast together or, you know, be bros together and like go to a shooting. You know what I mean? Like just anything, you know? I don't want to
There is a
yeah.
huge difference between like having a good friend that you can bitch to that will offer you help that you will actually take, right?
Yeah.
And somebody that you just complain to and complain to and complain to. You offer a solution and they're like, nah, I shouldn't. No, it's okay. It's really not that bad. Like, really, it's fine. And then
It's
you're
just
just like,
like
then why the fuck did you ask me? Why are you
yeah.
talking to me if you're not going to take my advice? Why'd you ask for my advice if you don't want it?
Right. And I do so what I do with my wife is that we kind of level set and I'm like when I will like talk to her about like an issue I'm having or like a health issue or whatever the case may be, I'll be like,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I just need to vent. I don't want advice. I just need to
Mm-hmm.
vent or I need advice. I don't know what to do. And so that goes the same with like friendships too
Yeah.
is like you need to make sure you're not just valuing them as a sounding board, but as like someone who has a life, who has a personality, and they're
Yeah.
more than just someone you can complain to.
Yeah, and that's the dynamic that me and my fiance have too. Is like if he's having an issue, I'll be like, "Hey, do you want advice or do you want comfort?"
Yeah,
And
exactly.
that's the best way to navigate that kind of scenario.
Because
And it's different too with friends in that scenario. You can ask them like, "Do you want comfort or do you want solutions?"
yeah,
And they just keep coming to you with the same issue over and over and
yeah,
over
it's
again without taking any kind of like
accountability. Honestly,
yeah, like any
yeah,
yeah, or like any kind of like advice or anything like that.
right,
They just want to beat that dead horse, and like it's really draining on your mental when you have
yeah, for
someone
sure.
bringing the same issue to you without doing anything about it.
It's like just trying to put. It's like one of those things you try to put a circle inside a square box, you know, and like nothing happened. Like, oh man, what a surprise, you know?
And it just makes me wonder too, like, why don't you want better for your children? Like
No, for
if you
sure.
don't want better for yourself and you don't want to put yourself out of that situation, why don't you want that for your children?
Yeah, hundred
And that's
percent.
something that I've watched like a lot, and it's so irritating to me because I don't have kids, so maybe I don't understand. But I
Right.
cannot fathom staying in an unhealthy, toxic, unsafe environment with
Yeah.
a child and just allowing that to happen. I would
Right.
never understand how people do that.
So, I actually there was a couple things I was reading as I was growing up. Obviously, it might be different now, but I doubt it. That even when you separate from like the baby daddy or the current husband or whatever the case may be, it actually ends up being healthier for the child because they're not witness to all these fights, arguments, whatever the case may be. It's just you have that healthy boundary of like, okay, let's cut off. But the issue with that is that how do you navigate that afterwards, you know? But it's so much healthier for the kid just to cut it off, you know?
You don't want your child becoming a product of their environment.
Yeah, exactly. You want to break those boundaries.
These are conversations that me and my fiance have had, gosh, so many times.
Right.
About how we want to parent our kids and like the type of parents we want to be.
Yeah.
Because the childhoods that him and I both had, we agree that we don't want our kids brought up like that.
Yeah, you want to break that cycle.
We don't want our kids like not being communicative and not sneaking around and all that. And we don't want our kids witnessing any type of unhealthy dynamic, whether it's from their aunts and uncles, their grandparents,
sure,
or even us.
Yeah.
Because even though we're the parents, we're not perfect.
No one's perfect.
Yeah. And so, but it's like one of those things where once you have a child, and I say this, I don't care how bad it sounds. Once you have a child, you don't matter anymore.
No, it's all about that child. Yeah.
You have to take care of yourself for your child and put yourself in a better situation for your child.
Yeah.
But other than that, your child is the only person who matters now. Their well-being, their safety, their health, they come first.
Yeah.
And it makes me so angry. You know, like back when you guys were fostering and you would tell me the stories about some of these kids' backgrounds, like it would just make me
insane.
So sad and so angry knowing like, why do these type of people have children?
Yeah, I will never in my million years understand it. And like the fact that children are failed so many times in the United States, like with the fostering system itself, is just so crazy to think about. Or like even when we tried to adopt, it's like 10 grand up front just to adopt a kid that's in need. Like these kids, like I understand to a certain point that you want to have kind of a barrier to make sure the child can be provided for. But that being said, these kids are being harmed either physically or mentally, malnourished, whatever the case may be. So why wouldn't you want to be like, hey, you know, instead of 10 grand, we're going to do a background check and you're going to go to parenting classes and we're going to do an extensive research and test. That I could understand. But there are like people like us who maybe we can't put up 10 grand within like the month they asked, but we could do other stuff to help provide for that child, you know?
Yeah, but two crackheads on a street corner can go get knocked up for free.
Yeah, I know.
And they get to keep their kid just because they're the biological parents. Like, what the fuck?
It's insane how many times children are failed in the United States.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. That kind of got off topic, but like
I did a little bit. That's okay.
It's relevant because I don't know if any of your friends have kids or not, but
they do not.
Most of my friends do have kids, and
right.
Sometimes it's really hard to see the way that they're being parented, but you can't say anything because you're not the parent, and I'm not one to really judge how somebody parents their child.
Right.
But sometimes you kind of are like, sometimes you kind of like tilt your head and you're like, man, like, if you want to be in that situation, that's fine, but why would you put your kid in that situation?
100%. And for us is that like, obviously we're not fostering anymore, but when I see that kind of behavior, I'm like, you know what? That's what I'm not going to do. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to do X, Y, Z, or if I hear about a story, I'm never going to do that. Or sometimes where like, I'll learn like, hey, you know what? I'm kind of being shitty right now. I have like shitty behavior. So I need to correct that for when I do end up having a kid, you know?
And not only that, but just also doing that just to be a good friend and be a good person.
Yeah, exactly.
It's really
and that goes for any behavior. Yeah, it goes for any behavior. Like you're saying, like it doesn't matter if it's for a kid or whoever. Just like sometimes you need to have that like look inside yourself and be like, you know what? I'm kind of being an asshole. Or like my wife
being a good friend right now. I need to be a better friend.
Exactly. Or like my wife, she'll keep me grounded. And like sometimes when I'm being a dickhead, she's like, hey, you need to stop, you know? But like sometimes it's needed. You know what I mean? Because you don't realize what you're doing.
You need to be confronted sometimes. Be like, hey, like, that's not cool.
Yeah.
And if you have a good dynamic and a good, healthy relationship,
you'll respect it.
You'll respect it and you'll be like, oh, shit, you know what? You're right. My bad. You know?
Yeah.
That's what I like about our friendship so much is because we can clock each other and we're not going to take offense about it. And, like, I've had a lot of friends in my past where if I clock them, they're like, well, that was fucking rude. Like, what the hell? Like,
Yeah.
is there a stick up your ass or whatever? But
I
like with
mean,
us,
maybe.
it's really nice because you're like, hey, that's not fucking cool, dude. And I'm like, oh shit, you're right, my bad. You know?
Yeah.
And then it never happens again. Literally
Yeah.
ever. Like, I can't name a single time where either of us have corrected a behavior and then
And
it
it
happened
hasn't happened.
again.
No. I think there's been a couple times where like I've even made jokes and you're like, hey, don't do that again. I'm like,
Never again.
never again, gone, out of my head, won't even think about it ever again, you
And I
know?
think it's really, really important when you have friendships like that because a lot of people don't. I think I would argue that most people don't have friendships like ours.
No, 100% no.
I feel very lucky.
I think we have a very good dynamic for our friendship, and I think I have that maybe with like one or two other people. Other than that,
Yeah.
it's so very far and few between where you have that respect for each other, where you can be like, hey, let's level set, let's have that open communication, because sometimes that can be hard and scary, right? Like I call patient, no, hear me out. I call patients all day, every day, and like having those tough conversations, like can like induce some anxiety, you know, when it's like information you don't want to deliver or it's bad news. But having that friendship where you can be like, you know what? Fuck you, you're being a piece of shit. I'm like, sorry, my bad. But it's
Like,
nice
you know
to
what? You're right. I have been kind of shitty.
yeah, it's nice not to like have that anxiety when you have those tough conversations.
Yeah, because it's really hard to be friends with people or like have people in your vicinity, whether it's family or just coworkers or anybody that
Yeah,
live in a victim mindset to where if you
right.
give them any kind of correction or any kind of like constructive criticism, they just take it like you just shit on their
Attack
dog's
them
head.
personally. Oh yeah, 100%. It's just like I can't fathom it. Like sometimes I'll have a conversation with someone and they'll be like, "Well, I didn't do that." I'm like, that's fine if you really think you didn't do that. That's fine, but that's what I
This is
perceived.
how I
So
perceived it. This is
yeah,
how
so
I,
like
you
let's
know.
have a conversation of like, hey, if you didn't intend it that way, that's fine, but don't take it as a personal attack. You know?
Yeah, because like intention doesn't always like matter. I mean, I guess because you can be like, oh well, it wasn't my intention to hurt you. It's like, okay, but you did though.
You still did. So like, if you
Like
can accept,
you can like unintentionally do shit all the time, but you still have
yeah,
to be accountable. If I'm telling you that what you did hurt my feelings or did
right,
something to me, you need to be like, oh shit, well I didn't mean it that way, but you know
right.
what? I'm sorry. You know?
Yeah, 100%.